My name is Cara DeFalco. I'm what the fertility community calls a single parent by choice.
It's just not supposed to be this whole.
And this is my story.
So it's dark because it's very early in the morning. All right, it's like 6 a.m. But I have my I have an endometrial biopsy today, which I'm not looking forward to because everyone says it's painful. So no one likes to hear that. But they also say it's very brief. So hopefully we'll just get it done and over with. Mom and Dad are going to be picking me up in about 2 hours. Um, but nothing like IVF to sort of induce like a variety of existential crises, because literally like woke up at 4:30 this morning, had to go pee, always nerd like, what is this, does this mean something, but also so much of this process is planned and thought about. Making coffee, um, pre-thought about, and it just, it's like you nobody becomes a parent via IVF like, oops, like we accidentally got pregnant. Or even if you're, trying naturally and things just work out for you, um, you just don't have that same, like, like this is all very on purpose. And it does, I think, force you to kind of look at all those questions a little more deeply since you have the time. Um, like I was watching a video yesterday about, you know, what happens in pregnancy week by week, and I knew this, but seeing the fact again made me think about it. It was saying how, like, oh, but, and I don't remember the week, but by such and such week, somewhere in the second trimester, if you're having a girl, her ovaries are already developing eggs. And this is always something that I thought was really cool, that I'm like, as long as my mom has existed, part of me has existed. And now I'm thinking about having my own kid. It's like, it's a trip, like, and it just, so anyways, I've been up since 4:30 in the morning contemplating that, and I figured I might as well get my ass out of bed and have a nice cup of coffee. Not drinking a lot of coffee lately. Switched to mushroom coffee, which I actually happen to really, it's expensive, but I like it. It's not great. You have to take it with food though, otherwise it'll give you agita. But we'll see how that continues to go. But since I've been up so early today, we're gonna have some real coffee while I still can. So biopsy today. As long as that goes well, transfer next month.
So that shit sucked. It took them 30 minutes to do what should have been like a 5 to 10 minute procedure. They couldn't get through my cervix. Apparently my body does this, which I don't know, he was saying is going to be an issue for the transport. I'm like, I've had 3 IUIs and it was never a problem. So I don't know. I don't know if it was a problem for the IUIs and they just didn't say anything and they didn't get it all the way in and that's why they didn't work, or I don't know. My best friend was like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. That should not have been that way. I'm like, all right, I don't know what to tell you, but it hurt like a motherfucker. And I am wiped, crampy, feel violated a little bit. So I'm lying down, obviously. And mom's in the kitchen making me pastina soup because it's what good Italian mamas do. So kind of excited for that part, I guess.
So it's the day after my endometrial biopsy, which sucked. This kid's gonna think. Anyways, I do get like cleaned and put on makeup sometimes. Sometimes, actual clothes, things like that. Anyways, yes, endometrial biopsy was rough. Yesterday, basically spent the day like between the bed and the couch. My mom was here. Alternated ibuprofen with Tylenol every couple hours. And then this morning, like, went to bed, got a good night's sleep, which was great. Felt so much better today. For me, like a little dryness. But other than that, I haven't had any pain or spotting even from that. So
waiting for those results. I feel like I've probably gone down a bad rabbit hole of like watching other YouTube videos like this one about other people's experiences, but at the same time, I don't know, it's like oddly comforting too to be like, okay, like this happened to this lady. Oh, okay, that's what happened to that lady. Like, oh, like this is what I can look for. This is what I can do. And I think for me especially, I'm such a proactive person, and I'm like, well, I'm not a proactive person. I'm super type A and really controlly. That's what I am. Let's just call it a spade a spade. So I am in like, well, what can I do? What supplements should I take? What should I be eating? Blah blah blah. So as of right now, my doctor has me on, and again, I have kind of a gap month between my egg retrieval and my transfer. So, but right now I am taking a prenatal. I am taking omega-3 fatty acids. I am taking, and this I kind of got from the interwebs, selenium and vitamin E. And vitamin D. It's summertime here where I live, so I know I'm constantly teased by my friends. I'm very fair, but I'm outside a lot, and I am probably getting plenty of vitamin D naturally, so I don't take as much right now. Come the fall, I will probably start taking it daily again, but I think I'm good for now. So that's what we're doing. Food wise, I feel like I have a little bit of time because we're not doing the transfer for almost another month, so I'm like, all right, let me, kind of have some fun. I do a lot of food events because it's my work, so I'm not too worried about that. I think the next thing I'm really worried about is, so it'll be September most likely when we do my transfer, and September is shaping out to be a busy month, and I just know that I've been sitting here going, I do not know how I am going to do this. How am I going to be and I mean, when I say busy, I mean it's going to involve like ball gowns, cocktail dresses, speaking in a microphone to rooms full of people, and I'm like, oh my god, how am I going to do this and like, get a progesterone shot in my ass that same day? Like, I'm just, yeah. But I'm watching all these women. They seem to be okay. They seem to be holding it. They seem to be holding it together better than me as already. So we'll see. But yeah, so just waiting on the results of my biopsy. And yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can just move forward. The fertility rabbit hole is real. I am well into it. But I did just hear so logically, I just got my period yesterday, a little early. Early relative to where it was last month because we did the egg retrieval, actually right on time for what my cycle was prior to that. Okay, so nothing too crazy, but my doctor's still on vacation until next week. Thank God, bless this man. He replies to emails while he's on vacation, so appreciate that. But I'm just trying, and I've been asking, and I get a little frustrated because I'm like, well, I've been asking, like, can someone walk me through what the transfer cycle is like? And I haven't quite gotten an answer yet, like a solid answer yet. So this is hence the rabbit hole. So it's my understanding that my lining develops well on its own. It certainly gets thick enough. It's anytime they've measured it, towards the end of my cycle, it's always been over the 8 millimeters, which is like the minimum, if you will, of where they want it to be in order to do a transfer. So my body does that on its own. So I'm like, okay. Now, typically for people, again, my understanding, people who don't develop that thickness, they put them on estrogen leading up to ovulation to help the uterine lining develop and get thick. Okay, cool. Then there's the possibility of a trigger shot to force ovulation or not. Again, I imagine that's a very, patient-specific decision. Maybe it's a timing thing. I'm not entirely sure. And then and I feel like this is the part that we kind of all have like a relatively new understanding of. The egg that develops and ovulates is creating its own hormones. And that's what makes it, tells your body what the hell's going on. And hence, if it were fertilized, it would start producing progesterone. So that's where they put you on the progesterone, shots, basically. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, we don't need the estrogen. My body develops a lining well on its own. that gives us another 2.5 weeks. He'll definitely be back by then. And we can just wait till ovulation. We'll get the biopsy results. We'll know what to do. And then at that point, we make a decision. Are we going to progesterone or are we trying to take care of whatever the problem is? So we'll see what they say. But this is my email. Okay, so really getting excited at this point. So spoke with my doctor who, again, like we said, there's something on my screen, is on vacation, but still got back to me. So love. But yeah, so he basically said, at first he was thinking, we have to wait for the results. So, I can put you on the pill in the time being if you want to try to do this right away as soon as I get back. And I was like, well, listen, I was like, can we do a more natural cycle? I was like, we know that my lining develops well on its own. And I was like, by my estimations, not the medical professional, but the pro on me, right? Which I like about this doctor in this clinic. So I was like, I won't be ovulating until early next month. It's the end of August right now. Today's August 21st. So I was like, that puts us, around like 9/3, 9/4. I said, we should definitely have the results back by then. And then we would know, if everything's normal, that we can just go to progesterone to start preparing for the transfer. And I thought he was going to kind of like argue that with me. And he was like, that sounds good if that's what you want to do. Yeah, that's fine. He's like, as long as your biopsy results are normal, we'll do that. So I'm like, I don't know. I have a lot of faith right now that those biopsy results are going to come back normal. Or at the very least, not something that needs to have an additional something done. So getting excited because I think we're going to be doing this soon. This shit is complicated on a million levels. So my biopsy that I had done last week, the doctor submitted doing the biopsy to the insurance company, but the lab doesn't work with insurance, so they still need to be paid separately, which is the same amount that the doctor would have charged me, which makes no sense. So yeah, just, literally bleeding money into this project. It's a kid, I guess, but it's just, probably since December of last year, I'm looking at 12, 18, 24, another 12 is 36. We're approaching 40 grand easily, probably just over 40 grand out of pocket. But people who don't want babies should not be able to have abortions. So I got an email from the doctor last night saying that the lab did not receive enough tissue to do the biopsy test. And so my options were I can either redo the biopsy or, and wait another month for the transfer, or just go ahead with the transfer. So after kind of sleeping on that and talking it out with some folks, I'm going to do the biopsy again, which I'm a little bummed about. I was kind of psyched about doing this transfer, hopefully having things be on their way. But when you really sit and think about it, it does make the most sense to just do the transfer. As my girlfriend put it, she's like, that's the equivalent of you getting a new engine and transmission in your car, all the body work, and you're like, nah, just leave the ball tires on it. She's like, you came this far, you paid this much, you've done this much stuff. She's like, just get the last test. So hopefully it'll be smoother with my doctor around. But yeah, so more waiting, I guess. I don't know. I keep trying to enjoy these things. I'm like, last chance to do this, last chance to do that, before everything changes and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's hard to do because you're like, just hurry up and get here already. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Hey, hello. So let's talk pre-transfer supplements, and I have some time still on this since they have to redo my endometrial biopsy, but I did change what supplements I'm taking leading up to the transfer. So still on the prenatal. This one, you're supposed to take 3 a day, but I actually just take 1 for now, mostly because they're expensive. So that I just use as kind of like my daily multivitamin, on an omega-3 fish oil, on vitamin D, which I've been on for many years. I had a basic like blood workup done possibly close to a decade ago at this point, and they had actually put me on prescription vitamin D. I finished that, and then they were like, just continue to supplement. So I keep supplementing. Clearly, whitest kid ever, so I probably don't get enough sun. But I try, I really do. And then I am still on the MTHF, so methylfolate. This is a 1 a day. This is 5 milligrams. My doctor actually said 3 to 4. I had this one for the egg retrieval as well. So I was like, well, I'll finish this one and then I'll buy the lower dose. But again, this also happens to have folate in it, so kind of getting a lot right there. Still on the baby aspirin, and basically this is, it's a basic blood thinner, very mild, but just allows for the lining to be more receptive to the embryo. And then as we get a little closer so again, I still have to go through this cycle, and then hopefully, as long as the biopsy comes back up, next cycle will be when they do the transfer. So probably starting then and really like after ovulation, I have selenium and vitamin E. And I've always done something. These are from my friend owns my friend and her husband own a supplement shop. So I'm starting to get more of my stuff from them. I know them personally. I know that they have the same sort of values that I do when it comes to like what you put in your body. So I know that this is good stuff. So this is Common Sense supplements. And you can find them online, and they ship nationwide. So if you're interested, by all means. So yeah, I have always done something called, not that I've always done something. I worked with a girlfriend of mine who was getting her master's in nutrition. And she, in the interest of kind of helping me ease up some of the pain of my menstrual cycle, had suggested something called seed cycling, which has no solid science behind it, none. And I do like science, but I'm also somebody who was like, well, I don't think, eating, 2 to 3 tablespoons of seeds every day is going to hurt anybody either. So I started doing it, and I personally felt a difference. I thought I felt better. And it's basically, it's these two things. It's the pumpkin seeds that you're supposed to do in the first half of your cycle have a lot of zinc. That helps with the progesterone, and then you're supposed to do flax, which actually helps support estrogen while eliminating excess estrogen. And then your luteal phase, I actually have it right behind me. It's sunflower seeds and sesame seeds, and those are high in E and selenium, and that's what helps promote the progesterone and things like that. So I was like, well, let me do that, in the week or 2 leading up to the transfer, post-ovulation, so that we do everything we can to support that, which will be great. I was actually really excited to hear, too, I spoke with my doctor, and he basically said, if we're going to do a more natural cycle, I probably don't have to do progesterone shots, which is great. But I do want to ask him, I did see online from one of these videos that I've been watching, apparently there was a study that basically said you need some progesterone in oil to really be successful, but it was like, you don't have to do it every day. Like, you can do the suppositories, every day, and a shot every 3rd day, and that had the best results. So there wasn't a difference. I think they did 3 groups. So they did like all suppository, all shots, and then they actually did a mix, and all suppository and all shots actually had equal results, but the mix was the thing that had the best results. So that's why when he said all suppositories, I was like, great. Not looking forward to progesterone shots because I hear those suck. But obviously want the most successful outcomes. It might be like, what if we add in like 2 or 3? just leading up to it, just, or, you know, like around there. We'll see. So I want to ask him about the study and how he feels about it. So we'll see what that says. But anyways, yeah, so those are supplements I'm on. I'm really glad because it's not nearly so many. It's something else I really like about my doctor is he will acknowledge that, you know, people are gonna look for this information online. They're gonna take supplements. So I was like, please, like, what, you know, my previous doctor was like, well, there's really no science there, so, you know, don't worry about it. And I'm like, that's not realistic. Like, you have to know that your patients are going to be seeking this out, wanting something they can control around this, and it's going to be diet, and it's going to be supplements. So that's why he was like, listen, take a good prenatal, take the omega-3, take your vitamin D and the methylfolate. Like I said, my acupuncturist had me on the baby aspirin, and then the selenium and the vitamin E was just, again, kind of via my own research and my experience with seed cycling that I've been doing. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna have my morning coffee because I'm still really tired. I'm excited that you're allowed to have coffee while you're pregnant. So we'll probably keep that up. So that's where we're at. Tell me you're doing fertility treatments without telling me you're doing fertility treatments. So I'm sorry, I'm so tired and I forgot my glasses, and so I keep having to put my contacts in and my eyes are just killing me. Anyways, testing for ovulation so we can schedule the second biopsy. Really not thrilled with that. Anyways, so looks like we got it today. So yeah, so now I have to let the doctor know, and we'll schedule that for next week sometime, and hopefully get this show on the road. I was laughing to myself yesterday because you know, after the biopsy last time, I was so excited and I was getting ready to lead up to this transfer, and I was watching all these videos, and now I'm like, whatever. So hopefully we'll get some of that excitement back. But yeah, we're take 2. So not exact. I mean, it is a fertility update just because it impacts it, but I basically am not working at QVC for all of September. That's my money. That's my, I have other much smaller sources of income, but that's like my bread and butter. And I don't know what that's going to look like, if that's going to continue, if it's going to pick up, and unfortunately, because of the cost of all of this, I don't have a lot of savings left. And I'm just thinking, I'm not going to do this transfer if I'm not going to be able to afford this baby. I'm really, really disappointed about that. Okay, literally just took my hair out of the ponytail. And I'm running because mom and dad are downstairs. But today is endometrial biopsy day, take 2. So on my way to that right now. So again, the first time they did it, they didn't get enough tissue, so we have to do it all again, which is super pain in the ass. But I'm actually kind of excited, or grateful at least. My doctor is going to be the doctor doing it now. So it's good because I think, this is also kind of acting as a practice transfer as well. So he'll be able to, get a better idea for my body and what I need to do for that. So headed out right now. Another biopsy, hopefully it's also not as painful. And also started filming in this direction. You can see I still can't find the camera, but filming in this direction because I've been watching a lot of YouTube and want to start creating for that. So home from what was supposed to be my second biopsy. They couldn't do it. Apparently my cervix is so twisted that they can't get in. And so they would like to do it under anesthesia so that they don't have to torture me, which I appreciate. Which also means my transfer is going to have to be done under anesthesia. But probably
there's a million disappointing things in all of that, because it's, now I'm busy, tomorrow and the next day, that's the window that they can do the biopsy in. So we're trying to scramble to find an anesthesiologist, shuffle my schedule around. I'm actually supposed to be working the next 2 days, which is important for me because I am, looking to, I obviously have to pay for all of this. And then there's just a concern of like I said, the doctor really feels that this is really even further proof that there's, some bad endo in there, kind of pulling and twisting things. And you're like, oh my God, like, would I have ever gotten pregnant naturally? Probably not. It's not blocked. It's just twisted because he said, he was like, you get your period, so there's an out. If there's a way out, there's a way in. It's just difficult, and they're not able to get the catheter through. So just disappointment, definitely the name of the game at this point. And I know I feel so bad for my parents. I just, in their 70s, they're driving me around, they're paying my bills. I'm like, oh my God, who wants to do that? They were supposed to, I'm gonna be 40 next year. So, and I think about shit like that too. Like, oh my God, like, I don't know, that I would even be able to do that for my probably just kid at this point. Yeah. It's a lot. And it's overwhelming. And it's hard. Your video? Yes, of course. It's a biopsy, take 3. Take 3. But at least I get to be knocked out for this one, so.
Yes.
On our way.
Absolutely.
Okay, almost ready. I'm whispering because there's people nearby, but got the tubes in for the anesthesia, and hopefully, this is a look, right? I think I should rock this more often.
Okay, so it is the morning after my biopsy, hysteroscopy. I don't even know what the hell else they did, honestly. Yesterday was rough. It was really rough. So apparently I was under anesthesia for 40 minutes. My cervix is severely twisted. And thankfully, when he did the hysteroscopy, he did not see any polyps or lesions or anything in the uterus, in my uterus. But obviously they're gonna do the biopsy. They're gonna send out the biopsy for the rest of that. So waiting on all of that. I will tell you this though. I mean, I think my biggest frustration right now is that my anatomy means that the IUIs that I did never stood a chance. So if you are watching this and you are just starting your fertility journey, please save yourself some money. It's probably going to be a little more upfront, but ultimately insist on getting all the testing first. Because had I known this, had they done this first, someone would have said to me, hey, you'll never get pregnant with an IUI. It's too twisty in there. They're not going to make it, even if we put them in. Or maybe they would have done an ultrasound guided IUI where they brought it all the way into the uterus instead of just dropping the sperm at the cervix, which is generally what they do. So, and those, at least for me, they were $6,000 each. 6, 12, 18, $18,000 I wasted because I didn't have this information about my own body. How fucked up is that? How fucked up is that? So seriously, please, if you are starting this, if you're watching this video, insist that your doctors do not the saline one, because you know what? I had a saline one too. My pipes are open. They're just fucking twisted. So,
that test came back clear. My hormones are where they're supposed to be. I'm ovulating. I get a period, and it still never would have worked. So that would be my advice to people right now, is just insist on getting as much testing done in advance as possible, because you will save yourself a lot of money in the long run. And this, no matter what winds up happening, is a long run.
Okay, I have my blanket on because it's really cold today. So I haven't had a chance to update on the biopsy results and what that means and what comes next, and the marathon continues. So they found high levels of inflammation in my womb. So basically, that reduces my odds to like 12% success. I was like, great. So the options were either laparoscopic surgery to find and remove the like endometriosis scar tissue in my pelvis, or 2 to 3 months of Lupron injections, which basically significantly reduce your estrogen. So it kind of basically, it puts you into menopause. Not that it puts you into menopause, but it gives you menopause-like symptoms because it's the same function, basically. So after a lot of back and forth with doctors and parents and all kinds of things, we decided to go with the injections. I think personally, if I could have, I would have preferred to work with a nutritionist and a doctor and kind of see if we could do it naturally. I just don't know, my doctor was like, you can certainly try. He's like, I don't know how effective that is. He's like, what I do know is both the surgery and the shots bring your odds of success back up to like 60-65%. And they do it within a relatively short period of time. So all that said, I'm still going to use what knowledge I have of food and nutrition and things like that to obviously help things along. My hope is to only have to do 2 months of the shots. There's no test. It's not like they go back and do another biopsy. So I don't really know. There's no way to like determine that it worked, but apparently it works. So, yeah, that's where we're at. So thankfully, because this is standard treatment for endometriosis, the insurance can now step in and take place. So that is good news. So at least I'm not paying for this out of my pocket, which is great. So that's where we're at, and we'll be going from there. So intramuscular shots, those I am not giving to myself because they have to go in my booty. And so thank God Nurse Aunt Mary will be helping out with those. So as soon as we get those, we'll do that.